Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. So, I got a voicemail today from Spikepit, aka Colin, and it's an interesting one, especially if you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts. And I have an idea on how to answer Colin, which might take up the rest of this fucking episode. But in any case, let's listen to Colin's voicemail.
Hi Eric, Colin, Spikepit. Yeah, I'm calling in with a question for you, mate. It's about self-publicity. Tim Shorts has talked about it at Gothridge Manor, and it's kind of come up on my radar as I'd like to grow the podcast a little bit and maybe get a few more listeners. Just because I think if you're not growing, you're kind of dying, really. So that's my main motivation for a bit of background to the story. I know you do a lot of stuff. You're well known, and just looking for some tips, mate. Really, any suggestions that you might have would be most welcome. Anyway, catch you later, and keep up the good work.
Well, Colin, that's a really good topic, really good question, and I think that this episode will be spent dealing with that. Now, part of the advantage that I have had, a built-in advantage, is that I have a blog that's been out there for 9.5 years, building traffic, getting me known, or getting me notoriety, depending on which side of the coin you're on. And the blog does very good traffic. And then I had, 9,400 people following me on Google+. And then we did the Facebook community for Tenkar's Tavern, which again has over, 2,000 members. Got the Discord channel at about, 1,150 members maybe. So all this stuff meant that when I hit the ground with my podcast, I already had a built-in audience to some extent. My episodes, my daily downloads is around 240, give or take, on a given day. I have days that spike, but they're spiking less because I think that most people that were going to find my podcast have found it. So they're only going to the back catalog. Once the back catalog has been listened to, my numbers are going to start settling into whatever they settle into. But as for others who aren't coming into this with a built-in base, but have interesting things to talk about, and I've listened to some of the anchor casts out there. I don't listen as often as I should. I need to find more free time. But the thing is, there are good podcasts out there that aren't getting listened to, that aren't getting the listens, the downloads that they well deserve. So, again, like I said, this is an interesting topic. It's something that's been swirling around in my mind for a bit, but I'm going to make a suggestion. And I'm going to throw this out not just to other anchorites and other podcasters, but also to my listening community to get their feedback on this. But my suggestion, or my offer, depending on how you want to look at it, is that the promotion shouldn't need to be self-promotion. It should be cross-promotion. So, for example, Colin, one day next week you guest on Tenkar's Tavern with me. We do an interview. We talk about what you do on your side and expose my listeners to your podcast. And then the following week, I show up on your podcast talking about what I do here with All Things Tavern. And we make this regular. We can do this between anchorites in general. But I'm going to suspect, again, because of my built-in listener base, because of the tavern's history, that I'm carrying a larger listener base than most. But I'm offering to do this once a week with other anchorites. You can, if you don't have me on Facebook, or if you're not a member of my Discord channel, you all can reach out to me by email, tencars.tavern@gmail.com, and we'll set it up. Now, if we do this once a week, where my listeners, and I'm going to talk to my listeners, get exposed once a week to other podcasts, maybe we can grow all the podcasts and all their listener bases. Now, to my listeners who are listening to this and going, there's some good shit out there. There is some stuff that you have not listened to. And I'm not saying that Colin or Tim Shorts or Jason Hobbs or anybody else dropping in on my podcast is going to change your life and make you go, oh, I got to listen to this podcast. But for some of you, you're going to go, wow, that was damn interesting. I want to learn more about so-and-so and what they're doing and what they can offer. And you will find new podcasts to listen to. So from my personal point of view, I'm helping my listeners. I'm helping my fellow podcasters. And by doing that, I'm literally helping myself, because growing the community is growing it for everybody. Okay, and this isn't a zero sum. Like some people think that, well, if I add this, somebody else loses that. No, it isn't like that. You can add more listeners. You can listen to the Tavern Chat podcast and listen to Colin, aka Spikepit, and listen to Tim Shorts at Gothridge Manor. You can listen to them all. Now, obviously, time is an issue, but it isn't zero sum. It isn't like you have to say, if I do this, then I can't do that, or I have to give up this. It isn't like somebody's taking money out of your budget. Okay? So that's my offer, and that's my suggestion, is that we start doing this as a podcast community, and we expose our audiences to others. So it isn't self-promotion so much as cross-promotion. So if you're a podcaster and you like this idea, let me know. You can even let me know on the messages here. If you are a listener and you're either for or against this, let me know, because in the end, you are why I do this, my listeners. And if you don't see it's going to be beneficial, we'll have to talk about that. Well, there we go. Great question, Colin. Thank you so much for it. All right, folks. On that note, stay safe. Stay healthy. I think I'm finally kicking this cold off to about 2.5 weeks. God bless. Roll your dice well. And I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later.